Welcome, friends. Rodge here, aka the Wisco Horn Dog, back again for another Saga Thursday. Today is part 2 of our Vikings Battle Board review, and we will wrap up with the remaining abilities and give some of our overall thoughts on the Vikings in general, and then we'll kick it out. Moving on, Uller, U-L-L-R. This is a common and an uncommon. Uller. This one seems to be pretty awesome. You can reroll any of your attack dice. I don't think I've ever seen anything else that lets you reroll in any of the games that I've played so far. Maybe I haven't noticed.
No, it's very rare. Reroll abilities are very rare.
It's essentially a game almost without rerolls. I've seen rerolling of defense dice.
That's Anglo-Danish, yeah.
Frequently. On a few different things, but never rerolling attack dice. This is massive.
Phenomenal. It's unbelievable. Like, you were talking about how, you have these situations where you basically I absolutely should wipe you or I absolutely should win. Saga, because the low amount of dice that you roll and some of the lack of modifiers that you're generally always getting a chance to roll a dice, like defensive dice and various things. Just you have a weird swing of luck and it completely changes the game. And so an ability to reroll, especially something as important as attack dice in a very attack focused warband, is just incredible. This thing is going to be used almost every round that you go into combat.
Yeah, it's awesome. It takes 2 dice, but fucking well worth it for keeping the probability and the luck on your side. I'm sure it can take combats where you aren't really likely to wipe them out to just all of a sudden boom, you just fucking get luck going the other way. So yeah, that's awesome. Okay, next up, Loki. So this is during the orders phase, it's a rare and uncommon, and you can remove these dice to remove 1 enemy unit of warriors or levies with 3 models or less. So that seems decent. It's 2 dice. Now I'm picturing towards the end of the game, there's always units, little tiny units dicking around in the backfield who are generating Saga dice, but not doing much else.
Yep. And that's really what this is used for. Because you get to the end of the game and maybe your units are outside of where they can make attacks and you're just trying to reduce some of your opponent's dice so that they can't come back at you, or you might even be outside of range. I can't do anything. I might as well take off these couple of models and gain some points that way. Because it's expensive. A rare and an uncommon in this battle board is very expensive because there's not unlike as we talked about before with the Anglo-Danish, there's not an ability to give you rares essentially. And as we're about to see in the next couple of abilities, rares can be really important. So it's really expensive for Vikings to do this, but in the times where it's useful, it can be really nice to reach out and just remove a dice from your opponent.
Yeah, I think so. If you don't have anything else going on, but those units are they're sitting back there. They're not really doing anything besides contributing that 1 dice, most likely. Sometimes there's scenarios with objectives and capturing and stuff like that. So you're kind of trading 2 of your dice. One of them are rare and one of them uncommon to eliminate 1 of their dice next turn, and maybe the following, maybe 2 dice, 2 turns worth, depending where you are towards the end of the game. If it's turn 5, I'd probably, it depends what's going on. But if you're just going to eliminate 1 unit, I don't know. But okay, let's move on to Valhalla.
Yeah.
This one is it's either a rare or an uncommon. Discard this die. Eliminate up to 3 of your warriors or Hearthguard engaged in melee. Gain 3 attack dice per figure removed. 4 attack dice if the discarded die was a rare one. So, okay, why don't you let the people know?
Oh man,
how this works, how this is going down.
This ability is just awesome. It's not only very characterful, but it's also the amount of attack dice that you can generate is disgusting. with this ability, you want typically bigger units because there's a cap on how many attack dice you can add. You can't add more attack dice to your unit than you generated at the beginning of the combat. So if you generated 8 attack dice, so you have 4 warriors, you generated 8 attack dice, you can only add another 8 attack dice in. So like you wouldn't want to have a unit of 8 warriors spend a rare dice on this and kill 3 of their dudes, and you can only add in 8.
You're already hitting the cap.
Yep. You could use a rare dice and kill 2 of them and add another 8 in, and that's where this ability is just incredibly flexible and can add so many dice for what you're spending on it. And this, I really dig this ability. Like Berserkers, this ability plus Uller means if you use a rare dice on this, you're killing 3 Berserkers off. They already generate 16. They generate 4 attack dice a model. They generate 16 as a unit of 4. You kill 3 of them off, they generate an additional 12. So you're at 28 attack dice. You then
that it doesn't happen like in Saga. Like it's crazy.
Like that's it. Getting above like 14 or 16 attack dice as it is, like those are giant units of Hearthguard that you got going on. Like that's pretty rare. So to have almost 30 attack dice and then to re-roll those attack dice, those that fail, can wipe out almost anything in the game without question. And so like that's why Berserker is ultimately the cruise missile. You have Valhalla, you have Uller, you add in Frigg so that you can double move and remove that fatigue, and you're killing almost anything in the game. It actually, when you play against a Viking player, you don't typically want to put a bunch of Hearthguard in one unit. You don't want to run a squad of like 10 or 12 because they can be killed in a single round without any sort of like concern. Like the Viking player doesn't have to try that hard to do it. So you kind of forces the opponent to split up their models into smaller units, which are great fatigue bombs when you kill them out. And then Valhalla as just like you don't want to use this on Hearthguard very often because Hearthguard are very expensive to lose. But like packs of like between 4 and 8 warrior units are great because you eliminate even one warrior with within a pack of 4 with an uncommon, and you gain 3 dice for that uncommon. Like in terms of dice efficiency, like Heimdall, you would get 3 attack dice, but you reduce your armor by 1. Here you kill one of your models, but you're able to now have those attack dice. To me, that's a very worthy trade-off. And as you start killing off more dudes, you get way more returns. So you use a rare dice here with a unit of 8 warriors. You kill 2 of them off, which is a quarter of the unit, and it is kind of expensive to use. But all of a sudden, you're doubling the unit's attacks. You're getting to that 16 spot, which is normally really amazing, and you're doing it with a pack of 8 warriors.
And you can.
It's great.
This one to me is like a good defensive dice for just catching people out.
Yep.
They might think they have a nice little. I'm gonna wipe out these warriors. They might think that they're stacked on defense or whatever. They're not gonna take much damage, and then all of a sudden, boom! Like they're maxing out at 16 attacks. You're like, what the fuck? Or even like your warlord going into a small little unit of dudes or something. All of a sudden, thought he was going up against 4 attacks and it's 8. And you can really catch people out if they're not expecting it, or if you have multiple combats that are going to happen, you can kind of see where you're vulnerable and just catch fucking people out. This one is super, super annoying to play against. Overall, fucking very, very nice. Okay, last one, Ragnarok. Discard these dice in the orders phase. All enemy armor values are reduced by 1 until the end of the turn. So it's 2 rares. Do you have enough rares to do what
you almost never have the juice?
Want.
You almost never have the juice to make Ragnarok work. And again, with the theme of this list being extremely offensive, it's only orders. It's not orders reaction, so you can't do it during your opponent's turn. So you wouldn't be able to use it like defensively to get them to have concerns about charging you. Some abilities like this kind of allow you to do it in the opponent's turn. This is only on the offense, and you are almost never going to have the dice for this. If you what can be done kind of interestingly is if you like in the earlier turns when you don't have a lot to do with your dice besides move, if you were say like roll 3 rares, you can always put 2 of them on there and then just play with a reduced board, and then you have Ragnarok for the turn that you really need it. And hopefully through activation pool, or if you're using a priest. Like the nice thing is that the Vikings list, the Warlord isn't as necessary as some other things because you have a lot of attack in just your warriors. So like you can have a Warlord priest pretty easily, who then can help you with some of that dice generation. And you can save dice on that Ragnarok for the turn that you really need it. Because it requires a lot to make it happen, but God, if you get this to happen, you can now pour your units into multiple combats and just wreck what your opponent's doing, because you can just, with 1- armor across the board, you have one unit uses Ullr, one unit uses Valhalla, one unit uses Thor and goes for another round. Like, all of a sudden, you can have multiple combats and actually a lot of efficiency in what you're doing, whereas before, maybe you have to stack some of those abilities to make the combat make sure it's in your favor.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, the reason reducing your armor by 1 really sucks.
Yes.
Yes. You don't ever want to have to, you don't want to do it to yourself ever. But there isn't a lot of stuff on these boards that can necessarily do something like that. So yeah, just army wide, going from a 5 to 4s with Hearthguard sucks. Yeah. 4 to 3s really sucks. Yeah, just it's pain all across the board. It's just, if you're lucky shit and you get four rares or something like that, you can really bring the pain. So, okay, what kind of, I guess, list wise would you see anything in particular? I think you get the access to the Berserkers, which are so awesome. Yep. I think you definitely want to take those.
Pretty much always take them.
There's nothing else like them in the game, really.
Nope.
And you're gonna kill some shit, and if they die, you knew they were gonna die, so you can't get too upset about that. Yeah, I like having the warriors in play with the Valhalla ability, sacrificing them over Hearthguard. Probably just a mix of Hearthguard and warriors. I don't really see this building a list really that different from any others. Most people leave the levy at homes. For shooting, do you ever take shooting?
There's no abilities that add to shooting in this list, so I would never touch levy with Vikings. There's plenty of other boards that I would. This is not one of them. You're about combat, and levy do not do combat well. So
yeah, Hearth. Pretty much any warriors and Hearth, any kind of combination there, you won't be disappointed. So awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, learned a ton about the Vikings. God damn, I want to play these Vikings now.
Do it.
Yeah, I think I will. I did make up some homemade Viking Saga dice. I just had some square cubes and I just drew the runes on them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I used a couple different kind of markers. Made it real classy. Right. They look pretty good. I don't think I have one in range. Otherwise, I would grab it. But yeah, overall, I think the Vikings, they seem pretty good. Are they? How do they kind of hold up over the progression of boards lately?
They struggle pretty hard. Their inability to shoot, and the fact that they only really operate in their own phase, the fact that they're always need to be the attackers, is pretty problematic. They're not very flexible. They don't do anything with terrain, and there's a lot of terrain scenarios usually, are either across the board and in events. They don't do anything with shooting. They don't do anything defensive. They hit really hard, but if your opponent knows, if you're playing against somebody who knows what they're doing, and can go defensive and use their abilities to the best that they can, or has a lot of shooting and can shoot berserkers and whatnot off the board, there's just not enough flexibility in the list to take on a lot of the weird shit that's been popping up lately with boards.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's brutal when it works, but they know what to expect. Yes. It's kind of a one-trick pony. Yep. You're not manipulating your dice. You're not manipulating their dice. You're not messing with their orders.
There's no control.
Except for that one shooting order. Yep. you're fucking around with. You're not really doing much on defense. Yeah, you guys are gonna kill stuff, and if that's not gonna win the battle, that's not gonna do it for you potentially. But
they say that's the better boards are those boards that have control, that control their opponent's movement, control space, things like that. Vikings do almost none of that, so just don't have the heat.
Okay. Well, they seem like a pretty good newbie army, I would say.
Yes,
because they're not sophisticated.
Yep.
And I mean, if you can get a couple of these orders off combined, it doesn't matter how cagey they are. Like, you can wipe out any big unit in one go.
Yep.
If you do get the certain combination of these, and if you're willing to sacrifice any one of your units to do it. So, yeah, I think Vikings for the noobs. Yeah, a couple of our players, Gulks and Andrew, are playing Vikings in the campaign.
Nice.
And Andrew's doing pretty good. He hasn't won any of the battles yet, but his warlord is like undefeated, unkillable. Like, he's got like the most power-ups of anybody so far. So he's doing good. But awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for learning me up on the Vikings. We'll have you back again. We'll figure out some more shit. These weird Yams Vikings.
Oh yeah. What the
fuck are those things even about? I don't even know. Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks, bud.
Yep.
Check you later.
See you, dude.
Keep on hobby horn dogging.
Woohoo.
Awesome. Well, that wraps up our Vikings Battle Board review. Big thanks to Mikey G for helping me out with that. It was really fun going through all those abilities, taking a deep dive. And I look forward to putting together some Vikings. I think there's a reason this is one of the most popular factions, and it's fun just to get out there, smash face for sure. Mikey G will be back helping me with the Yams Vikings and Anglo-Saxons Battle Board reviews, which are incoming soon. Like and favorite this shit. If you have a friend who is into Saga, go ahead and send him this link. Give him the knowledge that he needs to survive, and subscribe so you don't miss the next video when the Saga Thursday. Become a hobby horn dog today, my friends.
Saga!